Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Today we're going to be talking about the Antichrist and the false prophet, but I'm going to be reading from what the Muslims are saying about it. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So somebody sent me this very interesting article of this guy that apparently claims to be really top-notch in talking about prophecies from the point of view of the Muslims. Here's the title of the article. The Arrivals of the Antichrist, Dajjal, and I'm attempting to say these Muslim words, but I'm probably butchering them, and maybe that's okay. But anyway, the Arrivals of the Antichrist, Dajjal, and then parenthesis, false Messiah, Imam al-Mahdi. Now, you have to understand the Mahdi is what they think is going to be the Antichrist. Or, I guess, here's another word for him is Dajjal. They call the Antichrist or Dajjal the false Messiah. They talk about a false Messiah. And, of course, we talk about an Antichrist and a false prophet. So we'll try to struggle through what he's saying. And then we're going to compare that to the truth, Bible prophecy, as we go along. So anyway, arrivals of the Antichrist, Dajjal, parenthesis, false Messiah, and Imam al-Mahdi, the second coming of the Christ, parenthesis, true Messiah. He says, Prophet Muhammad prophesied the advent of an Imam who would emerge by divine decree. I'm going to read this slow because being on radio, it takes a little while to kind of let it sink in. And I also have to admit I tend to sometimes go too fast, and probably there were a lot of amens out there in radio land as I said that. So I'm trying to go a little slower on this, and it is a little complicated. So anyway, let me start again. Prophet Muhammad prophesied the advent or the coming of an Imam who would emerge by divine decree to lead the world of Islam at the time when the true Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary, parenthesis, peace and blessings of Allah Most High be upon them all, parenthesis, was about to return. So they're saying that there's going to be the Imam, a prophesied event of their leader, on or about the same time the true Messiah, their words, not mine, okay, the true Messiah, the son of Jesus, or Mary, or arrives, okay? So they're saying that this Imam arrives on or about the same time that the true Messiah arrives. This is their words. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense sometimes, but this is their thinking on it. Now, we're going to go through this. I think this is very interesting. He goes on to say, quote, how would you be, unquote, he said, quote, when the son of Mary descends amongst you and your Imam would be from your own ranks, the true Messiah. Now, I think what he's doing is quoting here from the Quran, and he's basically trying to say that the son of Mary descends amongst you, is in Jesus, and what are you going to say when the true Messiah descends from the ranks of the Muslims? I believe that's what he's trying to say. An imam in the religion of Islam is both, this is important, a religious as well as a political leader. Okay, well, actually, we've talked about that before. And that is what they believe. They believe that their leader is going to be both a religious and a political leader. Now, the Bible says that the political leader will be the Antichrist. He will be the one that comes from one of the 10 global region leaders. He's a political leader. Whereas the false prophet comes out of the earth. He is a religious leader. Let's go on now. I mean, read that again. An imam in the religion of Islam is both religious as well as a political leader. Hence, the office of the imam is synonymous with that of Amir or Khalifa, parenthesis, Caliph. Now, the way we say that is a caliphate or caliph. So it's saying, if I'm understanding this weird thinking here, he's saying that they're looking for a religious and a political leader to lead the caliphate. And they are working for a caliphate right now. And their definition of a caliphate is, I believe, and this might be a little bit wrong on the lines here, but I believe it's going to be Libya, Egypt, Syria, possibly Turkey, and in Iraq, and also possibly Saudi Arabia. So it's going to be over there in the area where the leopards live. That's a general way to think of it anyway. Now let's go on. The Hadith, therefore, prophesied that one Islamic government would eventually rule over the entire world of Islam. Is he right? Yes, he is. Because as you recall, Revelation 13, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. The beast which I saw was likened to a leopard. So the basic beast is the leopard. The leopard represents Islam. Was likened to a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth was the mouth of a lion. The bear is Russia. The lion is England. But the basic beast that rises out of the sea is Muslims. So the Muslims will have a major part to play in the last days. And it may be that the controlling part of it is going to be Russia, as the angel that spoke to Dmitri said, Russia and England. But understand that Islam, Muslims, are going to have a major part to play in the last day, hence cutting off the heads of the Christians. That's their favorite way to kill their enemies. So let's read this again. The Hadith, therefore, prophesied that one Islamic government would eventually rule over the entire world of Islam, and that the Imam would be both the political as well as the religious head of that government. It is far-fetched to presume that such a momentous transformation of the world of Islam would eradicate or remove Muslims from the paralyzing grip of the United Nations Organization, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, which would restore the gold dinar or their money and the silver dirham as money, can be achieved without an armed struggle for liberation. Now let's put that into our terms. It's saying that they believe the world of Islam will rise and remove the paralyzing grip of the Western powers and will form a new money system based upon gold and silver. Rather interesting, since you and I know that they're now in the process of forming an entirely new financial system that will be based upon gold and silver and the actual assets of the whole nation. We've talked about that. So let's go on. That armed struggle is confirmed in a hadith narrated by Ali, I'm not even going to try to say that name, in which the prophet declared that the Imam would be his descendant, and hence an Arab would emerge not only to restore the Islamic caliphate, is the way we would say that, but also to restore peace and justice to a world that would be at that time fulfilled with injustice and oppression. He would therefore defeat all the forces of injustice, or we would say the Western powers, injustice and oppression prevalent in the world at the time. So what they're saying is they believe their leader, which we Christians call the Antichrist, is going to come from the Islamic world. Well, I agree with them. I believe that he is going to be a descendant of the weed side, not the good side, or the perverted side of the seed. In other words, rather than Isaac, he will be Ishmael. Rather than Jacob, he will be Esau. In other words, he'll come from that perverted bloodline. And of course, what they say he is going to do is to restore peace and justice. Well, that's not what we Christians call that. But again, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a leader that is going to rule the world and come from the Arab, come from the Islamic Muslim background. Now let's go on. Even if only a day remains for this word, I think that's their leader, to come, yet Allah will surely send a man from my family who will fill this world with justice and fairness, just as it initially was filled with oppression. So what we call evil, they call good. And what they call good, we call evil. Now, let me point out a couple of the scriptures here, and then we're going to go back to what he's saying. In Daniel 11:24, it says, and he shall enter peaceably. Talking about the Antichrist. Peaceably, even upon the fattest places of the province. And I think that's when the Antichrist finally goes into Israel. And one of the first things he wants to go see is that massive oil field that is all through the valley of Armageddon. I believe that's where it's going to be. Even the fattest, and that word fattest means crude oil. Even upon the fattest places of the province, or the way we would say that, even upon the crude oil areas of Israel, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He will scatter among them the prey, the spoil, and the riches. I think that when he gets there, he begins to hand out a lot of Israel's wealth, i.e. the gas and oil of Israel, because at this point, Israel has become the wealthiest nation on earth. She's the one that has almost all of the oil on the globe, is handed to Israel supernaturally before, during, and after World War III is how I interpret that. Now, let's look at how that happens. One of the words that we have to be so wary of in the days ahead is miracles. Now, we Christians, it's a dangerous thing. We seek after miracles. I do, you do. Even the past Sunday, I was praying for someone in church asking for a miracle. We are constantly in the world of Christianity asking for miracles, asking for miracle healings, asking for miracles in our finances, and right now, a miracle in our government. So we seek after miracles. And I don't think that that's a wrong thing, but these 3 verses give us a real pause.
We'll be right back after this message.
The extreme summer blowout is now in effect. You can get 50 DVDs for $250. That's $5 each. 25 for $160, that's $6.40 each. 15 for $120, that's $8 each. 10 for $100, obviously $10 each. 6 for $70, 4 for $50, and 2 for $30. You can go to prophecyclub.com. There's a list of all the DVDs there, or you can call us and ask for the summer catalog, or download the catalog at prophecyclub.com. Flip through it, then decide which DVDs you want. That's 785-266-1112, and it expires soon. Call 785-266-1112 today. Some restrictions apply.
And now, back to the program.
But these 3 verses give us a real pause and a real warning about miracles. By the way, and here's what I did. I looked up the word miracle in Revelation. It only finds 3 verses with the word miracle in it, and none of them are good. All of them are a warning to beware of miracles. So let me read them. Revelation 13:14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. This is talking about the Antichrist, which he had power to do. Actually, it's talking about the false prophet, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, which is the Antichrist. So this is saying that he deceives, or the false prophet deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the Antichrist. Now let's go to the next verse. 16:14. For they are spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth into the kings of the earth. In other words, the rulers, the military leaders especially, go forth into the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle. That's Armageddon, of the great day of God Almighty. So what is it that gathers the whole world? Anybody that will gather, he gathers them. It is the spirits of devils who work miracles. They actually perform, they show some kind of great miracles to the kings of the earth, but not just the kings, the whole world. Anybody who will gather to fight Jesus, they are gathering them at the Battle of Armageddon to fight Jesus. Don't just think military. Yes, it will be military, but also think anybody. These spirits of devils are going to be calling fire out of the sky, Revelation says, in the sight of men. They're going to be doing all kinds of amazing miracles. They're going to be saying, this is the truth. This is the truth. See, I can do this great miracle. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. Look at this miracle that I can do. And that's the reason we got to all go down. We got to all fight. Bad idea. It's a bad idea to be fighting him upon the horse. Revelation 19:20 now. The beast was taken, and with him the false prophet. So when it's talking about beast, we call him the Antichrist. The Bible calls him the beast, same thing. And the beast or the Antichrist was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast and them that had worshipped his image. So please understand, don't just watch for the mark of the beast. Yes, watch for the mark of the beast, but also do not worship anything that calls itself God, that sits on the Ark of the Covenant, whatever his name might be. These both were cast into the lake of fire, burning with fire and brimstone. Now, let's go back to what this prophecy student of Islam is saying. This essay suggests that an Israeli attack on Iran and Pakistan, expected any time now, is likely to provoke the emergence of yet another such person who will claim to be the Imam or Al-Mahdi. This is a matter of much more than passing importance for the followers of Prophet Muhammad. In other words, they're saying that the war that will bring on to a certain degree, it's amazing. To a certain degree, he's right, okay? He says the war that bring on the Mahdi, which is what we call the Antichrist or the beast, will be when Israel attacks Iran and Pakistan. Now, what have we been told? We've been told almost the exact opposite, but it is a war involving the same people. Let me refresh your memory. January 22 of 2006, and I've had several emails email me and say, will you please tell me the order that Prophet Leslie was actually given these headlines? So I'm going to give two orders. First, I'm going to give you the order that she was given the headlines. Then I'm going to rearrange the order in the order I believe that they will take place. Again, understand, we don't know the exact order. It might not be this order how they're fulfilled. But nevertheless, this was the order. First, she heard Israel refuses help to America. Then catastrophe hits America. Omer ushers in Palestinian state, one of America's greatest times of need. Israel is attacked. America sends troops. Chaos reigns as Americans protest help to Israel. Then she heard my voice saying it will start with an internal revolution. Now, this is the order I believe it will happen. Omer ushers in Palestinian state. Catastrophe hits America. One of America's greatest times of need. Israel refuses help to America. Israel is attacked. America sends troops. Chaos reigns as Americans protest help to Israel. Then my voice, it will start with an internal revolution. Now, the whole point of that is it's saying that actually it's not Israel that attacks Iran and Pakistan, but rather it is Israel that is attacked. And of course, it does not say who attacks Israel, but it's not too hard to figure that out. Now, let's go on to the next part of this. I think this is really interesting. Since the advent of Imam al-Mahdi, again, that's what we call the beast or the Antichrist, since the event of Imam al-Mahdi occupies a position of supreme importance in Islamic eschatology. That's a study of the end times. Eschatology means a study of the end times, or what we call Bible prophecy, but what they would call Islamic prophecy. Both Shia as well as Sunni. Now, here's an easy way to remember this. Shia sounds real close to the word that is similar to, I hate to be crude here, but this is how I remember it. Shia kind of sounds like excrement, human excrement, that word, okay? But as the word Sunni kind of sounds like sunny. So Shia, those are the real bad guys in the world of Islam, whereas Sunni, that's good. Those are, if there is such a thing as a good Muslim, those are the good Muslims. So Shia, those are bad guys. They think that we need to take over the world now. We need to kill anyone that's not a Muslim now. Whereas the Sunnis, they think that we need to start killing people as soon as the Mahdi shows up. But the heart of both of them is to kill anybody that's not a Muslim. That's the definition of jihad. Now let's go along with what he said. Since the mysterious emergence from with Europe's bosom of Pax Britannica, I'll come back and explain that in a minute, and its successor, Pax Americana, the world has experienced unprecedented political, economic, and cultural, racial, and military oppression and injustice. Now, here's the way we would say that. Ever since the Brits, England, and the Americans took over the world, Islam or Muslims have been extremely oppressed and given injustice. Now, let's go on to the next part. Of course, we don't agree with that. While Muslims have always retained the primary target of these awesomely powerful forces of oppression, they call the Western forces oppression, they have not been their exclusive target. The primitive peoples of the world, resident in particular in such ethnically cleansed lands as USA, Canada, many parts of South and Central America, Australia, New Zealand, and elsewhere, have been literally wiped out like cockroaches. Allah Muslims are now preparing themselves for the greatest oppression of all which they expect from the Pax Judaica, or what we would say is Israel. That is about to replace Pax Americana. So what they're saying is that Israel, as the world leader, will replace the American leadership. Well, I have to say they're accurate, because in World War III, the Russians attack and defeat America. In one day, such great riches had come to naught, and Israel emerges the great victor from World War III. Now let's go on. Parenthesis. Indeed, this writer recognized Israel's Pax Judaica to be the beast of the land. See, they call Israel the beast, okay? The beast of the land, which is one of the major signs of the last day prophesied by Prophet Muhammad. So they're saying one of the major signs of the last days is when Israel rules the land. Well, I have to say, they're right there. Most things they're exactly backward, but on this one, they're right. Let's go on. When Israel does launch an attack on Iran's and Pakistan's nuclear plants, it is certain that the Judeo-Christian Zionists would respond by placing unbearable pressure on the USA, UK, and NATO to join in a war in support of Israel. That war, as well as other possible wars to follow, would immediately realize for Israel the status of ruling state in the world. Well, I have to say I think they're pretty close to right. Let's go on. Israel will then attempt to impose Pax Judaica upon mankind. So it's saying that Israel will emerge the great victor of World War III, which I've been saying for years, because the Bible says it. Only when that has been achieved, and it does seem possible that it can be achieved, we expect Dajjal, that's the Antichrist, to appear in person in our world of space and time. Another way of saying that is when Israel emerges from World War III, the great victor, and gets back all of her land, that's when they expect to see the Antichrist show up. And I have to say I agree. That's what Bible says too. Let's go on. This essay warns of the possible loss of faith by many Muslims if and when Israel does launch an attack on Iran and Pakistan, and either Sunnis or Shia are subsequently deceived into embracing a false imam or al-Mahdi. That traumatic loss of faith can occur when the false imam is eventually killed or assassinated, and he becomes a willing client of those now waging war on Islam. So the Muslims openly say that they're false imam is going to be killed or assassinated. Well, what does the Bible say? And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who's like unto the beast? Who's able to make war with him? In other words, a guy that was wounded to death, but comes back to life, I believe. In other words, like Jesus came back to life, this guy is going to come back to life, and he's going to say, I am Jesus. I am the Messiah. And to the Jews, he's going to be Messiah. But to the Muslims, he's going to be their imam. Now, final paragraph. When Imam Mahdi does emerge and proclaims himself to be the Mahdi, Muslims would be required to pledge their allegiance to him and join him, even if they have to crawl over ice to do so. A refusal to pledge allegiance to the Imam would entail dire consequences in this world as well as the next. But Muslims have to beware that do not pledge their allegiance to a false Mahdi, since the consequences of such a mistake will also be severe. This has shown us that the Muslims have many similar prophecies, that they are looking for a man to return and to lead them into world domination. And of course, we are looking for a God, as in Jesus, he that sitteth upon the horse, to return and destroy our enemies. Very similar, but exactly the opposite. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless.
The Prophetic Club is on the tip of God's spear. Join the battle and prayerfully consider supporting the Prophecy Club with your gifts of support. We would not be here without your prayers and generous financial support.
Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you.
Lindsey Williams has just come out with his newest DVD titled How Trump Changed Elite Plans. How Trump changed elite plans, and he did. Topics: be prepared to view the most shocking DVD I've ever made. Nothing like this has happened in 6,000 years. Something catastrophic is beginning to develop. It will change your life forever and the life of your children and grandchildren. This is the most important information I've ever given about the future. Called How Trump Changed Elite Plans at prophecyclub.com. Available for shipping now. We have put the collection of the best of the 2016 DVDs together in an awesome gift offer. First, Miracles in Pakistan. Pastor Masih tells the story of 23,000 Muslims that he led to Jesus in Pakistan. Then in his DVD Visits to Heaven and Hell, tells about going to heaven once and twice to hell, and it will scare. And then the third one is The Babylonians Are Coming, his 9 dreams that God gave him about judgment on America. Then Bree Keaton talks about explosive prayer strategies, emergency prayers that work. Finally, includes Lindsey Williams' new DVD, Trump Speaks to the Elite, and how Trump changed things and the new plans of the elite. 5 DVDs valued at $168, all available now for a gift of just $75. Helps us stay on radio, okay? That's valued at $168, all for a gift of just $75. Prophecyclub.com, 785-266-1112. Prophecyclub.com or 785-266-1112. The best of 2016. Order now. The Extreme Summer Blowout is now in effect. You can get 50 DVDs for $250. That's $5 each. 25 for $160. That's $6.40 each. 15 for $120. That's $8 each. 10 for $100. Obviously $10 each. 6 for $70. 4 for $50, and 2 for $30. You can go to prophecyclub.com. There's a list of all the DVDs there, or you can call us and ask for the summer catalog, or download the catalog at prophecyclub.com. Flip through it, then decide which DVDs you want. That's 785-266-1112, and it expires soon. Call 785-266-1112 today. Some restrictions apply.